Updating an existing landscape. That is today's topic here on the program as we go on location once again. Mark, always good to be out and about, and this is another river property, isn't it?
It is. We are here in Bristol, and this home has a beautiful view of the St. Joe River.
Now, this property is not a surprise to you. There are things here that look rather familiar, right?
I actually was sharing with the homeowner that when I came out here for the first consultation that I think probably about 25 years ago, whenever the house was built, we actually did the original landscape here.
Isn't that something? And that's kind of the way it goes with you, isn't it?
We do have some repeat business, and this is repeat business just with a different homeowner.
Yeah, well, updating the existing landscape is the theme, as we've said. And Mark, when you first got together with the homeowner, what did they express to you, and what did you find when you first arrived here? It's been a while.
Yes, and the overall look and feel was just too crowded, and it's a beautiful house.
Yes, it
and
is.
We wanted to open it up so you can really see the features of the house. It really has some nice architectural details in that. And so we actually walked around the property and assessed every individual plant, tree, shrub, perennial ground cover, and made a decision whether we keep it, we get rid of it, or we repurpose it, which would be transplanting.
So how much of it were you able to keep?
Actually, quite a large amount.
There you go.
It's not all necessarily in the same location that it was when I first came
Okay.
here. So we did a lot of transplanting, and that gives the homeowner a lot more value, a lot more bush for the buck.
Yeah. So I guess the key here is to, in the end, create something that no one can really tell if it's new, or repurposed, or brought in another fashion, right?
Exactly. And you know, Craig, as we come walking up the driveway here and I see the final finished product, it puts a smile on my face, and I hope that when the homeowners pull into their driveway, it puts a smile on their face as well. I think we accomplished what they were looking for.
I don't know a whole lot about this property, but I think you have too, Mark.
Well,
Tell
thank
us a
you.
little bit about what's going on here, can you?
Okay, well, here on the corner, we actually had another tree, and it had been removed many years ago. And we don't normally plant trees in front of windows, but this happens to be a bathroom window, and we're looking for some privacy, but we don't want something to get huge.
Yeah.
We also were looking for color, and so this Japanese maple with those reddish or burgundy colored leaves looks absolutely stunning in front of the gray cedar
Sure.
siding here.
Yeah.
So that is there for a reason and purpose, and that's a new plant. We also transplanted these very mature large hostas. They were all growing together, and it just simply was too much. So we transplanted them, we divided them, we thinned them out, we added some ornamental grass. And actually, this is a new shrub here that is one of our globe blue spruce. And it just simply replaces another globe blue spruce that was there originally that just got too big for the area. So we've started out a little bit smaller, and we should get probably another 20 years or so worth of use out of that.
All right, so by 2036 or so, you'll be back again, right?
Maybe.
Yeah. Now, the hostas, replanting
Yes.
those, any problem there with transplant shock?
You know, there's some things that you can transplant and some things that you cannot.
Yeah.
And hostas are one of those plants that's very, very forgiving, and they did absolutely just fine and will look even better next year.
They look good now, yes. What else here, Mark?
Well, where we're standing here, Craig, this was all a living ground cover called Pachysandra. It just simply was too much. It was choking out the plantings, and so we removed all that Pachysandra. It opened it up. And the homeowner really likes kind of soft textures and not these hard-shaped, heavily pruned shrubs and that. And so you'll see a lot of ornamental grasses incorporated in here. These are some dwarf blue fescue grasses that we transplanted. The blues look really nice with the burgundy colors. And then we've opened this up to show off this beautiful Japanese red lace leaf maple, which is kind of the crown jewel here by
Yes.
the front entrance.
That is the wow, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of the sidewalk here, we've got a really, really small planting pocket. And there's not a lot of things that can work in a teeny tiny area there, but actually the dwarf ornamental grasses, this is our gold variegated lirapi. looks stunning there. They maintain that green and gold variegated leaf throughout the season. And then Craig, during the summertime, actually gets a kind of a bluish purple colored flower, which you can see one starting to appear right here. And this rose, the homeowner was telling me a little story about that. This rose just actually came up on its own. It was a surprise rose, and so it's very, very precious there. Has some additional really significance to it, and so we kept that there, and then we added a third gold variegated larapi there, and it looks really, really nice with the rose.
Very cool. Well, what's up front here, Mark?
Okay, well, let's go over there and check it out.
All right. Well, Mark, what'd you find here when you first arrived?
Well, good question. Actually, here in front, there was nothing.
Nothing?
All we had was this
What?
edging here and an empty bed. And prior to my visit out here, there had been a tree, and I don't remember what else, but we did have to work around a stump. And so we've got this beautiful tricolor beech, which is one of my favorite trees because it has the 3 different colors in its leaf. That's the focal point. And then the boulders that you see here, Craig, we actually pulled them from other parts of the landscape where they were hidden by overgrown shrubs, and we've incorporated them in here, did nice placement and grouping with those. And then these coral bells were actually transplanted from a bed that we eliminated from the front yard.
Yes, and I can see that area right now. Looks like a UFO might have landed there, huh?
You know, it does look a little funny with all those white flags around there.
But there's a reason for that.
There is a reason for that. So just last week, we removed that bed and we put in fresh cut sod. And if the lawnmowers would go over that sod, it would suck up that sod and shred it up because it's not rooted in yet. Basically the flags are there to provide information to the crew that's here mowing on a weekly basis. Don't mow this for 2 weeks until it's rooted in.
Well, you did a complete transplant here, didn't you? Moving the bed completely to a new area.
We did, and you can't even tell that these coral bells have gone through a transplant. There's no transplant shock. And then to fine tune the front yard, the homeowner wanted to have a landscape bed around the mailbox. And again, there's this great appreciation for ornamental grasses. And we've got one of our very popular blue lime grasses out there. 3 of them, 3 individual plants, but eventually those 3 will all grow together.
Very good. Well, let's take a little walk over this way, huh? And again, you see some of the ornamental grasses that welcome the guests, right?
Yes, again, looking for those soft textures that are greatly appreciated by the homeowner. Craig, these ornamental grasses were actually already here, but not in this location. And then there were all these daylilies in here. I mean, we took out probably 100 daylilies here, and it just looked like a jungle. And so we removed the daylilies, we transplanted and divided the ornamental grasses. Now you can see the boulders here. We've gone with bark as a ground cover. And then also an area in front of the garage window here was way overgrown, and so we eliminated 100% of those shrubs, and we wanted to have kind of some balance and symmetry. And so we've got a red Japanese bloodgood maple here, which ties in with the other bloodgood maple on the front of the house.
Yeah, a lot of dividing and conquering going on here, huh?
Absolutely. And what I like are these junipers. They go with the burgundy colored leaves of the Japanese maple quite nicely. They complement each other. Eventually there will just be a sea of gold. It's one of our unusual golden junipers called Sabric Gold Juniper.
Now, we've featured a lot of these plants and varieties on the freebie sale
we have.
during the different segments of the program. Folks can pick up any of these, and they don't necessarily have to go in this order, do they, on any landscape? I mean,
absolutely not. I would say after 34 years of designing and installing landscapes, we have never installed one that's exactly the same as another.
So mix and match to your heart's delight, huh?
Absolutely.
Very good. Well, lots of things going on here. Now, Mark, if folks at home wanted to get maybe some of their landscaping updated, and would this be a good time of the year to maybe talk about doing that?
You know, it's a great time because the plants actually transplant very well, especially with the cooler temperatures that we're experiencing now and the rains. They're very forgiving. Now, there are some larger trees and shrubs which are beyond transplanting, and that's something that we just talk about and as we go through and assess an existing landscape.
So the very first step then, if someone is watching that's maybe interested in what we featured here today, would be to give you a call or go online at lintons.com and then get that process going.
Absolutely.
And the consultation, the very first one, free of charge.
Absolutely free.
Okay, well check it out. If you need some updating of that tired landscaping, Lintons is the place to make that first call. Mark, good job out here.
Thank you, Craig.
And a nice visit after, what, 25 years of being away, huh?
It's been a while. Yep.
Very good. Much more coming up on the program. Stay with us. We'll be right back.